This is the actual vlog on the Actual Facts Podcast.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
What's going on today? I want to talk about protecting your own community. Now, if you don't know, this is the actual video log on the Actual Facts Podcast. Shout out to Brother Malik for having me on the platform. I'm going to talk to you about protecting your own community. Now, as it applies to leadership, right? I believe that leadership starts at home. And I'm starting like this for a specific reason. Because I want people to understand what leadership is. Now, leadership doesn't always start on some gigantic national stage. It starts right here, right now, in your own community. So what does it mean to protect the people who are around you? And how can leaders at a local level ensure that your community is safe? How can they ensure that your community is united? They can't. Your local leaders can't do that. So I need you to break the cycle of thinking someone is here to lead you. And in this video, what I want to do is I want to break down why protecting your community is not about safety. It's about leadership. It's about responsibility. And it's about understanding that the future belongs to people who create it. And it has to be created by people together. So I want to talk about why leadership begins at home and why it's so important and so crucial for every one of us to take responsibility for our community, especially the community that we live in. Now, look, across the country, there are so many different communities that are just facing just astronomical challenges. You got what I'm saying? So whether it's economic disparity, the lack of resources, inflation, and when I say inflation, I'm talking about the inflation of the crime rate. You got division in the communities. You got so many different social issues that are impacting your community. So I'm going to give you the truth. You are not going to be able to rely on the government. You're not going to be able to rely on law enforcement. You're not going to be able to rely on outside forces to fix an inside problem. I remember one time when I was a young kid that I read that change starts within. And I think that's very accurate for what I'm talking about in this video. You got to understand why it's important to protect your own community. And if you don't understand that, then your community will be problematic. Think about the impact, though. Look, when a community comes together and it takes responsibility, you normally see a lower crime rate. You normally see better education. You normally see a stronger economy within that community. But guess what? If you are like an ostrich sitting with your head in the ground, not looking around and analyzing what's going on and what's happening around you, then guess what? These problems, they get worse. Protecting your community means addressing issues directly. And when I say directly, I'm talking about direct, head on. When you see the issue, you face the issue. So it's your responsibility to create opportunities for the youth. It's your responsibility to ensure your safety. It's your responsibility to make sure that your neighbor feels supported. So we're going to talk about leadership, right? Protecting your community starts with you, because you are the leader in your community. You're the leader in your household. So you have to protect your community. But protecting your community ain't about physical safety. Because a lot of times when we think about protection, we think about, rifles and, creating physical safety. But look, protecting your community is not about physical safety. It's about creating an environment where everyone feels as if they can thrive. And you don't need to be a politician or a police officer or none of that type of stuff to make a difference in your community. And once again, you cannot depend and rely on these politicians and law enforcement to make a difference in your community. It's not their community. You need to think about and focus on leadership at the community level. So what the world does that look like? Well, guess what? You can be a mentor right now. So become a mentor. Start working with kids. Start working with local business owners. Become a local business owner. Start hiring people from your community. Become someone who is organizing a neighborhood cleanup. There's so many different real world examples of individuals who are working relentlessly across this country, city to city, dealing with local leaders and just dealing with normal people. Now, you may view yourself as a normal person, and that's great, because most leaders are just normal people who were born in the mind and they decided to step up. So I want to encourage you, start a food drive, start organizing educational programs, start working right now to ensure that your community is safe. And if you're not ensuring the safety of your community, I don't know what you're going to do. It's your responsibility to make sure that your neighborhood is safe, to make sure that the neighbors in that neighborhood are connected. Because listen, leadership is about being proactive. You know what I'm saying? When I see a problem, guess what? I'm going to do my best to become a part of the solution. And I'm telling you, I have seen firsthand how leadership can transform a community. It has to happen in your mind first. It's not always easy, but I'm telling you, when people think collaborative, if they think in collaboration, if they think, hey, let's come together with a shared goal and we can accomplish a desired outcome, I think that we can almost accomplish almost anything when we're working together. So you need to ensure that your local park is safe for the kids. You need to help your neighbor when they're in need. I think, once when I was young, me and my father, we were standing in front of this body of water. I'm going to call it a lake. I threw this giant rock into this lake, right? Almost in the center. And those ripples started just going all throughout the lake. So the message that my father was teaching me was that one gigantic push or one gigantic force from an individual can create a ripple effect. So by doing all of these small things that I'm talking about, these small actions can have a ripple throughout your community. I need you to think about that when you are navigating through your community, because it is up to you to ensure that your community is doing what it's supposed to do. And it really starts with you. It is massively crucial that you understand that it is your responsibility. It is not a politician's responsibility to provide for you. You are not going to be able to rely on the government, rely on outside forces to assist you. It is up to you to protect your own community. You have to understand it. It's very important because there are so many things that are happening around us. There are so many problems right now, and you have to meet those issues head on. Once again, protecting your community is your responsibility. It's your responsibility to create an environment where everyone can survive, thrive, and basically flourish. You got me? So you're going to have to look out for more individuals than yourself and maybe your children and your family. You got to step up. Once again, you can start a food drive. You can start organizing, educational programs in your community. You have to create a community of individuals who are proactive and working together, be a part of the solution. Once again, I've seen firsthand how leadership can definitely transform a community. And it's not easy, but I'm telling you, when people have a common goal and they're working together, they can almost create the impossible. You got what I'm saying? I'm telling you, man, I believe this. So you're going to have to create real action, and real action creates lasting change. So what can you do to protect your community? And what are you willing to do to protect your community? It starts with you looking at that man in the mirror. Ask yourself a couple of questions. What does my community need right now? What does the younger generation need right now? Do they need mentorship? Do they need guidance? Do you need to advocate for better resources from your local government? Do you need to be more engaged? Everyone in your community probably feels alone. But if you could communicate, they won't be alone for long. You understand? Look, leadership is not about being selfish. It's about taking action. Small actions create big actions. So I encourage you to start by getting involved. You can attend a town hall. You could join a community group. You can start a community group. Volunteer your time. You need to understand what's going on and the problems that are plaguing your community. And if everyone in your community did just one thing to help, guess what? You're a part of the change. So what I want to do is I want to challenge you right now to take the first step. And what is that first step? Reach out to a local leader. Volunteer with a neighborhood group. Look out for your neighbors. Protect your community because it's your responsibility. And that's how you build the future. If you want to build a future that you want to see, then you're going to have the leadership that is required. And that means taking responsibility even when it's difficult. Protecting your community, once again, is not about safety. It's about leadership. It's about responsibility and building a place where everyone can achieve. And it starts with you right now. These are my thoughts. And if this message is something that resonates with you, then make sure you subscribe, share your thoughts in the comment section, and more importantly, take action in your own community. I'm telling you, you're going to have to be the change agent. You got to lead the change in your community. Make your community stronger. Get stronger. Talk to you soon.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?